Hi, it's stickpiano, and I'm back with a brand new series on YouTube. This one is called Totally Rebuilt, where I take a tactic that is submitted by users on the Total Tactics Discord or tactics that I seek out from various sites on the internet. It differs a little bit from our previous series, which we'll still be continuing to make videos for, where I test tactics that either I have created or that I have cherry picked from the Total Tactics Discord to show you really good, effective tactics that you can download to succeed in your saves. Totally Rebuilt as a series will be me seeking out tactics that haven't tested very well, either in our database or sometimes in databases like FMBase or FM Arena, and looking for tactics that could really use an overhaul and really applying some of the principles we've talked about and learned on the channel. I'm really looking forward to seeing this series develop, and it really gives us an opportunity to point out some of the common shortfalls that people have when they're building tactics and some of the tricks that you can utilize to improve those tactics' performance in a testing environment and hopefully also in the saves that you're playing. This first tactic this week is a tactic that I found on FM Arena, which unfortunately is the tactic that is tested the worst on the 22.4 testing database that has been produced by FM Arena. So we're going to run it through the Total Tactics tester, see how it does, talk through the original tactic and what it offers and what the results were and what their shortcomings are, and then we'll talk through my rebuild and then the test results from the rebuild. I'm going to restrict myself. I have to use the bodies in the tactic in the place on the pitch that they exist in the original tactic, so I cannot move a player around. What I can do is change any of their roles, all of the team instructions, any player instructions, any team mentality changes. So I can touch anything except where the players are standing on the pitch in the tactic graphic. So those are the restrictions, and hopefully you enjoy the series. I think I'm going to really enjoy making it, and I'll really push myself to apply principles, try new things, and see what kind of results we can make. So let's take a look at the tactic this week, which is the tactic right now that is performing the worst on FM Arena. So this is the tactic. On FM Arena, it's called the Guardiola 3331. So I haven't changed that name here at all in the video, and it does. I mean, basically, it's like a 4-3-3 except 3 at the back and a shadow striker, so which is weird to say that it's essentially that, but I feel like the attacking play is very similar to a 4-3-3 just with an extra body, but then obviously you're sacrificing some stability in defense. But this shape, while being somewhat encouraging and maybe there are some possibilities, holy instructions, Batman. There's over 10 instructions in possession, 8 instructions out of possession, 5 instructions in transition. There's just a lot going on, and I'm not sure all of them really work together very well either. And we'll talk through what some of those are as we kind of go through these instructions. But the first thing I want to point out is this is a very attacking tactic, which is obvious from the shape, but when you look at the way the libero is set up on support with a regista in front, this tactic is possibly very exposed in transition, right? This regista is going to push. That is going to create space for the libero to push, and then there's just a huge gap between the ball-playing defenders, which are each set to stay wider. That's just very aggressive. It's not the kind of shape that I would play and build, and so trying to make something stable out of this shape is going to be difficult and is going to push me as a creator to really fix this tactic. So when we look at the instructions, one of the things that I see right away here is this overlap left instruction when we're playing 3 at the back. He does have this ball-playing defender set to dribble more and stay wider and take more risks, but it's never going to get to the point where there's some kind of overlap, and that overlap instruction doesn't apply to the Mezzala. So there's really no need for this. Also, playing wide is something that I think is a mistake in this tactic as well, because it's going to spread the starting position out of these defenders even more. The width setting in Football Manager is more about where those players start the play, less about what they do with the ball. So you want to think about like where the dots are in the pitch at like moment zero of a highlight is kind of what that width affects. And so it's really going to stretch out that back line even more with the libero stepping into the gap. That's just very dangerous. And it doesn't really help this winger. This winger is going to be your widest player regardless, right? So I would love to see this tactic. And when you see in the rebuild, we'll put it on a much different like attacking width setting. So also, much lower tempo, I think, is a mistake too, and doesn't make use of the extra body that you have in attack compared to most tactics. So I think the tempo needs to increase as well. The other thing that I think is a little bit like contradictory in this tactic is whipped crosses with work the ball into the box. So if you're asking them to work the ball into the box, they're going to be moving centrally through that box-to-box midfielder, the shadow striker that's in the tactic, right? There's not going to be that much opportunity for whipped balls, and this inverted winger isn't going to be in position to do it either. So really, you've given instruction for one player. I think low crosses is a much better situation here, because then the inverted winger can make use of low crosses. The Metzala can make use of low crosses, and so can the winger as well. I just think it's a much more effective instruction, and one that I just whipped crosses to me is a double winger with two strikers kind of instruction, not a single winger and one sort of withdrawn support complete forward instruction. So I think there are some issues here with this. Short kicks to the playmaker, I think, is a problem as well. Could really be like an issue. Holding shape, I just think that they're missing the opportunity to be really aggressive with these kind of like 6 attackers plus the regista and the libero, and holding shape doesn't push that advantage. Like, what is the point to these extra players if you're just gonna hold shape? So a lot of these things are what I think contribute to the issues. Also, 3 defenders, much higher defensive line is going to cause issues. Like tighter marking when you have this many people is going to cause issues, especially because the libero in transition won't be in line with the other 2, so it's going to pull a lot of the ball playing defenders out of position when they're asked to mark tighter. So there's just, I think, a lot of issues in the instructions and a lot of things that we can look to change to see better results. Let's take a look at the results that this tactic had in the testing database. Okay, so taking a look at the results, you can start to see why this tactic finished bottom of the FM Arena's testing methodology. In our methodology, it's finished bottom of the Elite League, 5th in the Balanced League, 7th in the Average League, and 4th in the Underdog League. Failing to win the Underdog League with a user-created tactic is a sign that you need to drastically shift gears. So that's what we're going to do with this tactic. But before we do, let's look at a little bit deeper into the issues the tactic is having, and let's start with the Elite League. And in the Elite League, it's shipped 89 goals to the opposition, which is the worst defense in the entire division, topping Juve or Zebra, which always does poorly in these tests, which has a 85 goals allowed. So this is clearly an issue with the tactic, and one that we talked about when we were breaking down the original tactic to start. In the Balanced League, it did a little bit better defensively, 59 goals. Now the quality of opposition drops here a little bit, and to me this sort of indicates that there is some potential to the shape, right? They were able to pick up 13 wins here in this division, only a -8 goal difference. So I think there's the possibility here that we can make this tactic perform better than it has here in these tests without changing the shape. In the Average League, which unfortunately, due to an issue with the database, is the only division in which you can get sacked. We did get sacked and finished seventh in the average league. It's hard to tell what point in the season that sacking happened, but honestly, if you're getting sacked, your tactic is bad, right? So we need to rebuild. So I don't know how many of these games were played using the shape. Like maybe it only won like 5 games before the manager got sacked. Who knows? But a 49 goals allowed though is like encouraging. I just don't know when those goals were allowed, right? Like if it allowed, 40 of them in 30 games with the other tactic, that's not that bad, right? So the result in the average league, even though we don't know how long it existed, is somewhat encouraging. Although I will say it is the third worst defense anyway. So at 49 goals is kind of a lot for the division on this simulation. So maybe we should make sure we check ourselves there a little bit. And then here in the underdog league, it is finished fourth with 58 points, a positive 9 goal difference. On the channel, we've seen tactics in the underdog league have 100 goal difference before. So only having a 9 is pretty bad. Allowing 55 goals in this division is pretty bad. So I think that we have a lot to do here. There are 4 teams that performed worse on goals. Actually, it looks like there's really 6 teams within 5 goals allowed of each other. But either way, not good, right? So we have a job to do. And I think the new tactic should surprise you. I think we've done a good job finding better results and a little bit of stability for this shape. So let's take a look at the new tactic now. Okay, so this is the rebuilt Guardiola 3-3-3-1. So you can see none of the players have moved positions on the pitch, but we have made some pretty significant changes to the tactic and really approached the exercise from removing some of the stuff that we thought was bad and just seeing what happens with the tactic that doesn't have those contradictions, doesn't have those negative defensive decisions in the tactical instructions and roles, and what can we do before then squeezing out some of our own tweaks to see where we can get this tactic to. So let's talk first about the stuff that we've taken away. So the first thing you can see is it's a much less aggressive back line. In fact, we've gone from the libero to a no-nonsense center back in the middle. So holding position and keeping that spot in the line, taking fewer risks with direct passing, just giving that no-nonsense center back much less to do, not dwell on the ball, stuff like that. So that's the one thing, right? That's just a massive change from the libero. We've also gone to wide center backs. And the reason for this is in a tactic without wingbacks to kind of shield your ball-playing defenders pushing up the channel, because normally I would much prefer ball-playing defenders in a back three to wide center backs, but wide center backs have the ability to be given the take fewer risks instruction. And if you're a fan of the other series on the channel, you'll know that I also am a big fan of take fewer risks as an instruction. We can tell these wide center backs to both hold position and take fewer risks, and they will flank this no-nonsense center back well without exposing the back line that much. I mean, obviously it's 3 at a back with no wing backs, so it's going to happen regardless, but you get the idea. So we've gone to wide center backs on defend just for that purpose, to try and make the back line less aggressive. Now, on top of that, we have made the quick, easy change to low crosses, right? It was whipped crosses before. Because of that, complete forward, we didn't love it because I don't like whipped crosses with work the ball into the box. I don't think they work all that well together. So with work ball to the box on, low crosses tends to generate the through balls that you want. It tends to generate play where a striker might get pushed wide of the goal, and so instead they'll run to the end line, they'll turn the play out, and then find the runner of a CM attack into the box for a goal, right? So those are the kind of passages of play that you see with low crosses. So I think the tactic would generate more offense with the low crosses being set up than the whipped crosses. Also, the passing directness and approach play instructions have changed massively. I don't know if you remember, right? They had underlap, overlap turned on. They had the passing directness and the tempo all the way to the bottom. That's ridiculous. We talked about why. If you're going to have 6 players in the attack here, plus the regista, plus a libero in the original tactic. Like, you need to push that advantage, increase the tempo a little bit, like get that ball moving around the pitch so you can generate overloads and like unbalance the defense. And that's what we're trying to do here with this tactic. Finally, we've also done things in the instructions here where we're not holding shape anymore. We are going to counter and try and press that advantage with that extra player in the attack. And I believe specifically this Shadow Striker. No, I didn't do that. Never mind. I thought I maybe set the Shadow Striker to. It does have mass trigger press. Okay, there we go. So is max pressing trigger ready to go to get involved in that attack as well and try to win that ball back on the counter as much as possible. So and take advantage of when they do win the ball back. I mean, so hold shape instructions gone. So other than that, we've added a few instructions. We want them to cross from deep. And I did that on purpose so that they would play low through balls into the striker, and on top of that, so that they wouldn't be at the byline all of the time, right? If you have these wingers constantly getting to the byline, they will not be as helpful on defense, right? So a big part of this instruction to cross from deep is to keep them a little bit higher up the pitch so that their recovery runs aren't as difficult and that they can stay with the fullbacks of the opposition to really reduce the damage from the inevitable overlaps that will come against this tactic. So those are the primary changes. I mean, the CM attacks in the middle. CM attack is a well-known role. RPM is a well-known role, right? So I haven't done anything crazy or groundbreaking in the middle here. We're just trying to push our advantage with a more stable defense. Like, that's simple. Like, it's a weird shape. It's one that I think is difficult to do well with. But we have, and I'm really excited to kind of talk through some of the results too of this new look Guardiola 3-3-3-1. Look at these results. I'm really excited. Based on what we saw the first time around, this is just a massive change, and really goes to show that if you can kind of balance your attack and defensive stability, no matter what your shape is, you can find a way to make that tactic work and tick over. And the thing that jumps off the page here is the Elite League. We were able to make this tactic win the Elite League with a plus 36 goal difference, so it's not a fluke. We've really turned around the goal difference by 120 in total, or roughly around that area. And if we look at the breakdown, right, the big difference here is goals scored. It went up from like 40 to 95, like just a massive increase in scoring output, and that's just with balance and pushing the advantage, right? Ticking on counter. Like getting rid of that libero so that your transitions will be more stable. Like there's getting those, like, not whipping the balls in, instead playing through balls from deep with your wingers. Like there's a lot of better ways to generate offense than the like hodgepodge of instructions that we saw like in the original tactic. So I'm really excited about this performance. 95 goals is a big number in the Elite League. We released a tactic on the other series that had over 100 in the Elite League, and I was over the moon with that. Like getting to 95, this is one of the higher scoring tactics that I have tested in the Total Tactics testing database, and it's an impressive result here in the Elite Teams League. In the Balance League, we finished second to Liverpool. It's a decent result. 105 goals is a great result. I mean, obviously 56, not a stout defense, but it is middle of the pack for the division. It's what you would expect from 3 defenders and a roaming playmaker back in defense, so I don't think that's a ton to worry about. If it wasn't getting the goals too, then you worry, right? But 78 points plus 49 goal difference, massive improvement over the original tactic. Now, the Average Teams League, we had a little bit of a hiccup here. The Napoli manager did get fired, finished 6th in the table, was clearly scoring some goals, had 73, defensively was having some pretty significant issues, but the Average Teams League's really weird and really fickle, so this doesn't like bother me too much. In fact, the peripherals here are much better than they were in the other test anyway, so like it's showing improvement in this division as well. And then obviously the 4th place finish in the Underdog was a big warning sign for the first tactic. And here we go, finishing top with 84 points plus 59 goal difference. Not the best result we've ever seen in the Underdog Teams League, but still very good, easily passable. And when you combine that with the performance in the Elite and Balanced Leagues, we've done really well. So I've had a lot of fun making this video, and I'm going to be seeking out other tactics that are maybe underperforming or tactics that are a little bit weird, and can we get them to tick, even using the shapes that I find out there. So some of it, again, like I said, will be coming from the Total Tactics Discord server, and you can jump into that Discord server via the link that's in the description. And while you're down there looking around for links, go ahead and follow me on Twitch, where you can see me stream a couple times a week, and as well hit that subscribe button on this video. It helps a ton. The channel's seen a lot of growth already, and I'm hoping that this new series takes us even higher. And this tactic, I think, would I play it? No. I will make it available for download. It's just not my style. But maybe if you need a goal late and have that like 3 at the back personnel already kind of set in stone in your tactic, like you play 5 at the back, this might be a good thing to switch to when you need a goal. And so I'll make it available. We'll see if any of you can have some success with this Guardiola system that was previously bottom of FM Arena, but now we've gotten it all the way to the top of the Elite League. So I had a lot of fun doing this. I hope you had fun watching it. Just remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the video and to the channel, and I will see you next time for the next rebuild.